Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo, and tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Pooba, Senator, Pagoda, Grinder, and Bam Bam, a full house of lizards. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some scotch, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 64th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a Cuban cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We review the history of the Añejados line, we debate the value of our scotch pairing, and we discuss my first ever box seizure, all among a variety of other things for the next hour. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair 15-year aged Macallan single malt scotch with the Partagás Gordas Añejados. A 15-year aged Grand Corona from Cuba tonight, boys, on the pod, the Partagás Gordas Añejados. Very nice looking stick, huh?
Yes.
Añejados.
Oh, yes.
Añejados.
It's nice to see a Cuban box press.
It is. It's custom.
Semi-box press.
Yeah.
Soft.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting cigar. I have a lot of kind of little anecdotes I want to talk to you guys about with it that I find interesting. I mean, the whole Añejados line is just confusing and weird in general. But I guess first, let's cut this thing, boys. See, we're getting on the cold draw on the wrapper.
Just gave me chills.
So
Let's cut this thing, boys.
So this is a 46 ring gauge cigar by 5 3/8 inches. Again, from Cuba.
Pretty nice on a cold draw.
So this, I did a little data scrubbing. This is the 7th Partagás that we've smoked on this podcast.
Ooh. Okay.
Ready to hear them? We did the Maduro one. We did the Partagás short. We did the D4 for last New Year's Eve. We did the Culebras. We did the Partagás P2 in the Battle of the Pyramids. And we did the Lusitania with Rob Ayala a few weeks ago.
Nice.
So, this is our 7th Partagás on the pod. So this is definitely, I was surprised to see, I kind of forgot a couple of them. I thought it would maybe be like 4 or 5, but I was definitely surprised that it was 7.
How's the draw, guys?
Nice.
Well, it's wide open.
Yeah.
Mine is plugged as fuck.
Oh, boy.
Does anyone have a perfect draw?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, that stinks. So what are you guys getting on the cold draw?
Fig and vanilla.
Yeah, it's very nice. Absolutely.
I'm getting a lot of
Yeah.
cedar on the wrapper, but I'm
I'm getting fruit notes like Pooba
a little
said.
sweet.
Yeah.
Honestly, the cold draw, this is one of the most flavorful cold draws I can remember.
Dude, it's setting up to
It's-
be a good cigar.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like I'm smoking it already. I haven't even lit it.
it's a lot of flavor, right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Honestly, the other Añejado that I've had is the Noella H. Upman. That's flavorful, but nothing like this.
But
It's not the
That's not an
Noella.
Añejado.
It's not.
No.
It's not called a
Oh, I
Noella.
keep forgetting that.
It's the H. Upman on it.
that's it. This has a way different cold draw than a typical Partagás that has kind of those baking spice and cinnamon flavor kind of things going on.
Agree.
Mm.
It's funny you should say that because there's some questions about how this cigar started its origin, which is kind of the case with most of the Añejados cigars. But this has a weird backstory that we're going to get into.
Awesome.
Are you going to tell us this is fake?
Yeah, I got these from Monte Fortuna a couple weeks ago. Enjoy them, boys. They were $10 a piece. Let's light this thing, boys. The Partagás Gordas Añejado from Cuba. So this box was released in 2016, but it has a box date of MAS December 07. So it's a little over 15 years old, which obviously is the whole thing about the Añejados line is that these cigars are released
This is
after they're
phenomenal.
aged.
This is so good. Sorry. Should I not? Wow.
Wow. Strong start.
Yeah, but
Wow.
but it's delicious. Wow.
No, I mean strong as in good,
In a
Yeah,
good way,
yeah.
not strong as in
So many like bacon,
That is
bacon
odd.
cookie, malty, like kind of earthy, little.
wow.
So that the graham cracker is coming through.
Sorry, I'm just freeballing it here.
No, you're right.
mean-
I think the graham cracker is spot on. I'm getting honestly Don Carlos shark-like flavor.
Yeah.
That's not wrong. Yeah.
The aroma is fucking unbelievable.
This is
The
really
aroma on this
interesting.
cigar?
I just have to say, look, I'm sorry. The Añejados line gets shit on all the time. I have always thought for very good reason. The only Añejados I've had that's really spectacular is the Upman Añejados.
Which is amazing.
Incredible.
We all love that cigar.
This is really good. I mean, I wouldn't give this a shot. I mean, I think we've said this on other podcasts, on other episodes. Partagás can do no wrong. I think this is already showing exactly that. But now I'm regretting that there's like this black mark on the Añejados line as if there's something wrong with them. This is spectacular.
So take it, take it now, and just retrohale it
Yeah.
through the nose, and you get
Well,
the
the
so
baking
you're getting the
spice.
floral.
You get
So now
There's so
take
many.
it. So take it now. So
Wow.
all those things you said are true. Now blow it through your nose, and it's so floral.
amazing.
It's
Am I
amazing.
wrong?
I get baking
No,
spice
it's
and a little
amazing.
floral.
You could taste
It's even
you could
better.
taste
Nice.
how age has just baked it perfectly.
Yep.
It's like all the flavors baked together brilliantly.
I run the risk of smoking this too fast.
Yeah,
That's
don't
not
do
fun.
that. Don't do that.
Oh
So
my
Gizmo.
God.
Yes.
Yo, dude, it's like almost like lavender through the nose.
Oh my God, he's right.
It's
Yeah.
special.
Am I crazy?
No, you're
No.
It's
not.
very
It-
floral.
It
It's
definitely has a
very-
very floral
But
thing.
like not overpowering floral like you'd get like with like an MD04
Right.
where it's like so floral it's almost like there's almost a not perfumey thing but
Potpourri.
it's
Potpourri.
very floral.
Yeah.
It's not overpowering but my goodness.
But this is where, I mean, Puba said earlier, these are not traditional Partagás notes,
no.
No.
which it's amazing to me the range that they're able to achieve out of their line. I mean, if we did this blind and you made us guess what Cuban brand this is, I don't think
wouldn't be
anyone
able
would
to.
say Partagás to
Yeah.
start,
It's
Yep.
funny you
I
say
don't know
that.
what I'd say.
There's
which
a
is
lot-
impressive for them to be able to pull this off.
There's a lot
I
of
might say Upman.
It's to me, it's like a combination of an aged LGC and an Upman.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Because it has that
It
floral.
has the floral from the LGC line, and it has like the graham cracker and the baking spices from the Upman line kind of
Yeah.
put together. And with 15 years of age on this,
Six-
it's kind of like really
that's-
balanced and mellowed out the
That's
flavors.
exactly
That's
what it
crazy.
is. Yeah.
Crazy.
So what's interesting about this whole Añejados line, and Rob, who we had on a few weeks ago from FOH, he's a big critic of the Añejados line, as a lot of folks on the internet, as Senator was alluding to, and there's two kind of grudge camps. There's a grudge camp in flavor and performance, which is certainly that's, to one's palate, whatever. And then there's a grudge camp that lives in the confusion and lack of transparency with the pricing, original pricing when they released the line, what's actually in this tobacco, why, let's say they have an Añejado Romeo Churchill, which is a regular production cigar, and this has never been a regular production cigar. The only other time that this cigar has appeared in Partagás's line as a size was as an EL, which was the Series 1, number 3, I think, was the edition limitada. That's the
Yeah.
same size as this. But
Yeah.
there's never been a Grand Corona from Partagás in regular production, at least in the last 20 years since Habanos
Are
has
you
been
talking about the
So-
Series C?
No, I think it was Series 1, number 3.
Series 1.
I think it was a 3 or something. I don't
Okay.
remember. It's an EL from like 2011 or
Yeah.
something.
But but the point you're trying to make is that there's some mystery behind what leaf is actually in this, and
That's exactly it.
because it kind of doesn't
It doesn't have classic Partagás.
kind of have classic Partagás.
Now,
But it makes you wonder though, is it not classic Partagás just because of this age? Because we've smoked for some pretty well aged Partagás.
but
before, they're
Culebra
very
still
different.
had the DNA
Yeah,
It
it
did.
did.
of
It's-
Partagás.
This is intentionally different.
Yeah.
But here's the
yeah.
question. Now, going back to the comment about Añejados, the grudge camp where there's a lack of transparency. The argument that a lot of folks make is that these cigars sat around and aged for however long that they did before they released, 9 years, right? So this is a late 07 box date of these cigars being rolled, released in 16. We're smoking them in 22. Okay. So that's the timeline of this cigar's life. The thing is that the assumption is that these cigars are not banded or boxed until 2016. So it's not like they rolled these in 2007, apparently, and put these bands on them and let them sit as a Partagás sitting in a warehouse, 5,000 boxes or however many, 10,000 boxes, and then they release it. The argument is like, who knows what Marca's tobacco is in this? Who knows what blends are in this? It may have had nothing to do with Partagás until they decided, you know what? We need a Partagás Añejado. Let's throw a band on it.
You're saying
and
they had
release it.
these like Pilones just aging somewhere in the corner of a warehouse. That's what.
That's the whole idea of Añejado, is that they're aged, but they don't give you very specific things. And the fact that the Romeo, for example, is a regular production cigar that aged and then they released it as an Añejados. And there's other cigars that they've done that with. And this has never appeared in regular production. Makes me think.
I mean, there are New World sticks that do very similar things. I mean, I think the Davidoff line, you think of so many times we talk about these like limited editions that they have, or even the Dominicana that we reviewed. It's got a 2014 band on the foot of it.
What does that mean?
Why would they?
Yeah.
What is that? It's not part of any regular Davidoff line that they've just had sitting there since 2014 aging, and they just all of a sudden banned it. I just feel like this kind of thing happens and there's this weird, mysterious process and intrigue, but when it works, it works. I mean, for the Dominicana, it worked, and so far, this really
All right,
works well.
I'm a little confused. So, are you saying these cigars were rolled in 2009 and they
2007,
and they let them sit,
and they let them sit
and then
and
they
age.
decided whether it's going to be a Partagás or
That's
something
the
else?
that's the thing that we don't have a definite answer on. We don't know when the actual Partagás label that we're looking at. So there's two bands on the cigar. There's a Partagás, classic Partagás band, and there's the Añejados band. We don't know when they put that Partagás band on this cigar. Was it put on this cigar when it was rolled in 2007, or was it put on when they boxed it in 2016? That's the question.
But why does that matter? I mean, it has to be Partagás tobacco, obviously.
It doesn't. That's the point. We don't know
How?
that.
Yeah, that's
How would
confusing to
Partagás
me.
ever dare sell a cigar that's not their own tobacco?
That's true.
Because they have these factories that are making different marcas across the Habanos catalog, as they say, right? So if it's in factory,
Well, MAS,
I'm just-
MAS is a Partagás factory code.
I don't know.
But let me just be clear, right? If this is at all possible that you look at a band on a Cuban cigar and it says Partagás or Upman or LGC or whatever it says, and we are not certain that it's actually their tobacco, I mean, it erodes brands, period.
Well, no.
Like when I pick up a Partagás, I know it's Partagás tobacco and what to expect. When I pick up an Upman, I know the same thing. If I'm hearing that it's possible that this is someone else's tobacco,
Well, someone else.
Partagás
Everything
just
is
threw their-
Habanos. It's like saying that Mountain Dew is not Pepsi, which is not. It's like Habanos is Habanos. So they do
But
whatever they want.
Habanos
The blenders.
manages these brands. I mean,
Sure.
they don't manufacture the cigars, right? I mean, that's the whole point of the brand is they they grow it, and they produce it, they manufacture it.
Yep.
If that's not true, then the brands mean nothing. Then they don't even exist. So that there's
think-
like a real existential
just-
crisis if this is true.
And that's where, and this is where the grudge camp of Añejados line comes out, of the transparency of how this was all put together. I mean, Rob himself on his forum, sometime last year, I was reading a thread about it, called this one of the biggest failures that Habanos has ever
Well,
had. The
there's
Añejados.
is
there's-
that- is
there
that-
is a lot of
I'm sorry.
information online that's backing up what he's saying, but how do you corroborate that?
You don't.
Here's
That's
the
the
thing.
beauty
So
of Habanos.
There's
Yeah.
been
Well, the
here's-
beauty and the mystery, right?
Well, here's the thing. I think that there's been some disappointment with certain Añejado releases, just because they just don't live up to the price and they don't live up to the hype, which creates, you're like, okay, this cigar is supposed to be, what is it, 5 years of age on it?
minimum
Minimum
five,
five,
but this
right?
one had 9.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, right? So as time goes on, and there's been some disappointing Añejados for banded cigars, which just leads to all of this kind of speculation that you're starting to hear in forums and whatnot. I mean, I think I think for us, practically speaking, this does it. If this was a blind tasting, would I pin this
That's exactly the point.
as a Partagás? No way.
And
Right.
Senator opened
No
the
one
whole
would.
thing
I
with
mean,
this.
no way. I wouldn't be able to pin. I wouldn't guess it. I mean, I don't know what I would guess, but it would be tough because it's really unique.
I don't know if I would put it as like a Cuban.
Oh, I would put. Oh,
I'm
I-
definitely
I-
getting
I-
Cuban.
I
Yeah.
I get
Definitely.
Cuban all
It's
day.
aged-
Someone
aged
said a shark
Cuban.
before, and I was like, that kind of resonated with
Yeah,
me.
I mean,
It does resonate.
This is Cuban
yeah.
tobacco.
I would say a Cuban, or if someone tried to lie and tell me it's a New World, my one guess would be the Don Carlos Shark, even though the Vitola would give
I
it
knew-
away.
Right.
And Anahados.
Yeah,
Anahados
Anahados,
Don
Don
Carlos
Carlos.
from Cartor Fuente.
Quick
No, it's, I
question.
mean, it's definitely a Cuban tobacco. It tastes like it to me. The muskiness of the
No doubt.
age is very in line with, that's not
That's
a
all-
question.
I'm just going to take a stand in this debate and say, because I can't accept that there's a possibility that there are brands banding Cuban cigars where it's not actually their tobacco. I can't accept. I mean, if that's the case, that shatters Cuban cigars for me. Just period.
So I mean,
I think we'll get over it.
So
I mean,
I don't subscribe to that. I do like what Puba has said is what I have read. The complaints I've seen online overwhelmingly are that so many different cigars in the Añejados line
Are
have
disappointing.
not lived up to
Nope.
the hype. They've disappointed in flavor, in performance. The price point's ridiculous on a lot of them, and so it's got to meet a high bar, and it doesn't come close.
I think what we found, I agree, and I think what we found in our personal experience with these is that actually when you pick up an Añejados box that actually has age on it, the ones that we have picked up, like the Upman,
the
Robusto,
2011s.
Yeah,
yeah.
2011.
and the 2011, like how luxurious that and beautiful and
Yeah, it's
and
fantastic.
complex that cigar is. You're kind of getting a similar experience here. So time.
I'm not sure if I would put this above that cigar though.
Oh, I don't know
This is
about
pretty
that.
damn good right now,
Yeah.
man.
Every
I
Upman Anahado that I've had has been such a
the jury's still out on that, my
I
friend.
agree.
okay.
But I also just want to say one thing. Look, there's obviously a lot of hate around the Añejados line, and I'm sure it's deserving. But I'm just noticing a clear trend here. We've had the Upman Añejados, and we love it. And this Partagás Añejados is off to a really, really good start. These are two Cuban brands that we love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not surprised. Like I'm actually frustrated that I gave into some of this online because I find it hard to believe that either of those two brands I revere so much would put out a really shitty product. Do I believe that the Romeo Añejados line sucks? Yeah, because their standard production sucks.
That's true.
Do I think that some of the other brands would fall short? Yes, because I think for a lot of the other brands, some of their cigars are excellent and others I'm not really a huge fan of. But I've yet to have an Upman or a Partagás that I don't like, truly.
Yeah, but going back to the point that Habanos has the tobacco aging, and then they roll a cigar, and then they decide whether it's going to be an Añejado or a Partagás or something.
We don't know that. That's what people are
that
saying.
doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
No.
You can't put an EL on a cigar after you roll it and you smoke and like, oh, wait a minute, we could release this as an EL.
No. And there needs to be a preconceived notion in
Right.
the way they make it.
Yeah, I don't buy
Yeah.
that.
Agreed.
So I think this had to be it had to be rolled in the Partagás factory, aged in their warehouse or wherever they aged them, and then they put the banner. But
I mean, listen, maybe it's New Year, New Lizards, but you guys are giving Habanos and Cuba Tobacco more credit than I've ever heard on
No,
this
for
podcast.
me, this is just the brands.
I mean-
I think these all stand for something. We tell the brand history. I just have a really hard time imagining that any of these brands would ever be in a situation where they're putting their brand on something that they didn't grow and
A quick
produce. I
question.
just don't buy it.
Quick question. How much are these?
So, well, they're very hard to find now. When you do find them, I got them actually. We got these from our friend in California.
Per stick, what are they?
We paid around $20-$25.
Oh, it's not
That's
bad.
They're
great
very
price.
reasonable
Yeah.
from but that's O price. That's not what you're going to pay on Bond Roberts if
Can
they
you
pop up.
I've got the Upman Anahados. I just don't remember how much they are. And
Up
what were
and
they?
Añejados
How much
were
are they?
around when we bought them, they
Yeah.
were about $5.50 a box.
I paid more.
Maybe
recently.
$6.50.
Yeah, I think I paid over
I-
$600 for the two boxes
I
that
got
I
a
have.
very good deal. I paid less than.
Yeah, I
any
paid
of them.
around
Yeah.
$4.95.
Yeah.
I
I've
paid
got-
$4 something.
But
I've got multiple boxes. that
I will
paid
tell you,
multiple different
it's worth
prices
every
of-
dollar. Those boxes are worth every dollar.
Yeah.
So
as
let's-
far as I'm concerned.
Let's quickly, I kind of want to get back to this because I'm really enjoying the flavor. I just want to quickly run through all the Añejados that have been released by
I was
Habanos.
just going to ask
That's
that.
a good
Um,
idea. Yeah.
So we'll start, we're going to go in alphabetical order of marca. So Upman, as we've discussed, released the Robustos in 2016. Hoyo de Monterrey released the Hermosos No. 4. Dan, Cigar Salute, would love that cigar in 2015. Monte Cristo had 2 Añejados releases. They had Churchill's, which is interesting, and Monte Cristo Tubos. Churchill's in 14, and the Monte Cristo Tubos are coming out in 21, which means we'll probably see them in 24 with the way the Habanos goes. The Partagás Coronas Gordas, which we're smoking tonight. 2 from Romeo, the Churchills, which Senator mentioned, the 2019 release, and the Pyramides in 2014. And I didn't know this one, boys. Trinidad Fundadores Añejados is coming out in 2021.
Yeah, it's $120 a stick.
More than that, probably. Yeah, so that's going to be something
That's
to look
crazy.
for.
Good luck.
So strap on your boots out there, lizards. There's more coming.
I mean, this is not gonna. This cigar is gonna play out beautifully.
Oh yeah.
I'd bet everything I have in the bank on it. This thing is not gonna end badly in any way.
I'll be honest with you, Puba.
This is very, very. This is extraordinary in my opinion.
When I pulled this box out and I put my nose in it, and when I started to dry box the sticks yesterday, I was very nervous because all I got was cedar. Every cigar just smelled like cedar, and I'm like, here we go.
Maybe they just
Here
kept
we
it near
go.
the Romeo Añejados.
Maybe, yeah, it might have been near the Churchill Añejados, but this, I would say cedar's not even a note I'm getting at all. It's an absolute flavor bomb.
You know, you don't get
there's no rough edge anywhere.
No, you don't get on the wrapper when you put it to your nose. You don't get any sense of flavor until you get a cold draw and then you light it. It's incredible.
I just when Giz said it's a flavor bomb, the thing that's actually surprised me most about this, this is medium full in flavor.
Yeah,
It is.
Not in
I was
strength.
just gonna say that it's not light.
It's
No.
not.
No.
And
yeah.
the crazy thing, why that surprises me so much is we talked about how floral some of the notes are in this. Most cigars that have floral notes, I don't think ever really touch the full category. They stay firmly planted in medium, which is good. But I do love a full flavored cigar. And I think we talk all the time about how with Cubans, you know, there's only a handful that really get into that full category. They're all pretty much medium and some are in the mild camp.
some of the Maduros get there, but that's about it.
But Maduros
That's
for
about
sure.
it.
But
That's
that's
about
so
it.
few.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And the fact that this, as I'm smoking it, I think firmly plants 1 foot, 1 leg in the full camp and the other in the medium. This is perfect.
It's full,
I mean,
it's body. It's full body.
this is
There's
what I
a lot
would,
of body.
Definitely.
if I
Yeah.
could curate a Cuban cigar for myself, this is what I would want to experience.
Dude, the cinnamon is just so.
Can
off
I
the
say
charts
something
for this
that
thing.
may be a little controversial in the room? This is reminding me more of any other cigar I've smoked from Habanos. This is reminding more of that Vegas Robania Classico thing that we love more than any other Habanos I've ever had. It's like touching on some of those flavor notes.
In terms of the level of complexity and sophistication, yes.
Yeah.
But the Vegas Urbania Classicos gives you more chocolate.
and cocoa,
Which is a
And
classic
cocoa.
Vegas, a Robania flavor note.
And this is more floral and fruity.
I mean, as we're talking about classic flavor notes for these brands, I mean, Bam just said he's getting a lot of cinnamon in this, and I'm now, I don't know, a quarter inch into this. I'm getting that, and that's classic aged Partagás.
like a
Which
D-
is the
So this
Culebra.
yeah,
The
and this
D4s.
is now
I was about to say
smoking
that, Senator, the D4 when it's aged right.
100%.
Yeah.
Which is why now at this point, if the cigar were already smoked this far and I took a draw and I had to guess, I would say Partagás. So I'm no longer like this validates for me that I'm sorry. I think it's bullshit. That
It's a
this is
Cuban.
some other brand cigar.
He's consulting
like,
for Habanos
it's a part of
these
it.
days, just so you know.
this is just this is now smoking like a Partagás.
It's a little reminiscent of the Culebra that we had.
You know, dude, I was
Right?
gonna say that. I kept it to myself because I thought you were gonna laugh.
But
I-
sweeter.
I get
Because the
that.
Culebra
Yeah,
has
it
those
does.
floral notes, right?
Yes.
So the
Yeah,
the Culebra has that floral,
Yeah.
floral
Yeah.
for that
'Cause
fragrant.
that Culebra had a lot of age on it
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Now-
is straight Partagás right here, exactly where I am in
So you're
this
about an
cigar.
inch in, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have to say, the spirit that we're pairing with this, the caramel notes I'm getting, it goes pretty nicely. I have to say,
I have not taken a sip yet.
very nice.
I have been waiting for this moment. So we kind of I did the math on the cigar. We figured out it was a 15-year aged cigar. So Grinder went and picked up 15-year aged Macallan, which we're big Macallan fans in the house. I don't think I've ever had 15 actually.
Neither have I. I like
you
it.
have.
12, 15, 18,
Have I?
and
At your
21.
place?
You know, the last time we had the 15, do you
Nor-
remember?
North
Rooster will
Lounge?
remember this. So me, Rooster, and bam, when we went up to Woodstock, New
Oh.
York, to the Dillon.
Right.
We all. This is a funny story.
We collected our scotches. Yeah.
So we all just some of the lizards and some other lounge friends of ours. We went up to this hotel in Woodstock, New York. This was around the pandemic time. It's like no one had really gotten out. I remember that was my first like hotel stay during the pandemic. And we all brought a different bottle of scotch. And the only requirement was it had to be minimum 15 years.
That's true.
And we had a hell of a night.
We did.
But one of the bottles was Macallan 15,
Okay.
which we had there.
Right. I do like it.
What do you think of it, Grinder?
I think it's pretty pedestrian.
Wow.
I mean, it's the double cask. It's not the sherry cask, so that's already a ding. It's good. I guess pedestrian's too.
What's
too
the-
rough.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit of
what's the price?
harshness as well.
What's the price
Yeah.
point?
How much is this?
145.
Oh, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget that takes it down a notch.
I'll say this about the Macallan 15. I have had full disclosure, a hate relationship with this spirit. And I love Macallan.
Did you say a love hate or just a hate?
Oh no, just a hate.
Well, that alone,
I thought the
I
15
just
was
wanted
the
to
one you
clear that up.
liked.
that alone
because
makes it a
when we
legendary
talk-
spirit.
When
The 12
doesn't
is-
it?
The 12
No,
is
no,
the
no,
one I
no,
like, the
no.
12 sherry.
when we talk about 12 sherry is an A plus. I thought you, in comparing the 12 to like the 18, you'd always say like, well, 15 is great.
No.
The 18 is too much.
I hate the 15. I'm absolutely in love with the 12 sherry. And the
Aren't we all?
18 is good, but for the price, I would take 12 sherry any day of the week.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
not even close for me.
We all
Yeah.
agree.
So I think the absence of the sherry in this is just, it's a bit of a letdown for someone who drinks as much Macallan as we do, or some people.
Mm.
I mean, so I think it's okay. It's
Totally
a good
agree.
scotch, but
it is-
it's a run of the mill. Sorry to interrupt. It's a run of the mill scotch to me.
Yeah.
It is, but the thing
Not for the
I'm
price.
surprised. So I started by saying I've had a hate relationship with this spirit. This is drinking sweeter than I ever remembered Macallan 15, which the sweet notes you usually would get from that cherry cask. So I like some of that. It's honestly almost a little too sweet, but it pairs well with this cigar in the
does.
sense that like the cinnamon notes you're getting in the
Caramel.
cigar, you're kind of getting a little bit of that here.
Yep.
So it's working better than I would have expected. But I still can't say I've had mine with some ice. I actually wish I did. Anyone try this neat?
I
I'm
did.
having a need.
So
yeah.
I'm having it neat.
Do you get a bite?
Yeah,
There
bite.
is, yes.
Okay,
A
so
bit of a bite, but
Whenever I have Macallan 15 neat,
Yeah.
I get a bite. When I have Macallan 12 neat, I actually don't
Don't get a bite.
12
I-
sherry.
this
I
is
don't
true.
get much of a bite.
this is true.
So that's always been the knock I have on this. It's like, I'm sorry, if I'm going to spend now $65, $70 on a bottle of Macallan 12 and it's got no bite, it's got this rich, delicious flavor about it, and now I'm going to spend
It's
140
half the
something
price.
bucks.
Where- less than half.
And I'm gonna get a
Where
bite.
are you getting it for 65 right now? Because it's like 80.
69.
Or
No, it's 69.
69. I was
Bottle
close.
King.
Bottle King.
Yeah.
Does the
I don't
Macallan
know if
15
I
also
think
come in a sherry?
It does, but it's hard to find.
Ah.
I don't think he heard you.
Does it? I'm not sure.
I think it does because I saw
It
the
does, but it's
SKUs
hard to
online,
find.
But I couldn't find it.
I've
couldn't
never
find
seen.
it. I went to
15
4
sherry.
liquor stores
So
tonight.
that would be interesting
Trying to find
compare
this
that
fucking
with the
bottle.
Really?
12.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
Kudos, Grinder.
At least now I know not to buy this. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Honestly, if it was cheaper, I would drink this, not regularly, but I'd have it occasionally. I don't mind it.
This
I
is
do- I'd
better
like-
than I last had.
Yeah, I like the caramel note. I didn't have it with any ice. I think if you had ice, it would probably dilute that, and
Yeah, I
you
know.
wouldn't get it.
But pound for pound,
Uh,
is this
Mhm.
dollar for dollar? Is
Yeah.
this a better
It
performance?
is
That's
a
always
better-
my point. 100%.
So
The
So
same
listeners,
Puba's holding up
Yeah.
for listeners.
Balvenie.
Puba's holding up the Balvenie double with
Well, I'm
12.
looking
12
at I'm
year.
looking at Grinder because he's looking at me.
Well, yeah. I mean, the fascinating thing is this is. I think it's aged similarly within two different types of oak, casks, and it's a very similar spirit.
For
but
double the price?
for double the price and probably less the flavor.
So I'm holding up a Balvenie Doublewood
12.
12,
Mhm.
and I've been drinking a lot of this.
There's no
because,
better
because the
single
price.
malt.
I mean, for
But
the
he
price,
resents the implication.
Yeah, but for the I mean,
Can he resent?
honestly-
Can he resent his own implication?
I don't think he does tonight. I don't think he
Not
does.
tonight, no. No, but I mean, if you could take a poll right now, pound for pound and dollar for dollar,
there's no
right now,
doubt, no
price
doubt.
point wise,
You're right.
and everything. For me,
You're right.
like
You're
I
right.
just find myself drinking more and more of this, and the price of Macallan's gone up to a point where it's not like, I mean, it'll always be the single malt Scotch that's like closest to my heart because it is
Yeah.
Macallan 12, but
Belvany, man.
it's hard to deny it.
I'm not going to say I
I'll
love
take
it.
a poll
great.
No, I
value.
agree.
Yeah.
And that's why even
right now,
even-
like
I agree with you 100%, Pooba. And even Macallan 12, that's my point. Like, I know you're pointing out the price increase. It is unfortunate when Macallan's done with their pricing, but the Macallan 12 Sherry is still half the price of what we're drinking, and I would still drink it over this.
Can I make a point quick on Macallan pricing on
Yeah.
12?
yeah.
I think they've actually backed off a little bit.
They did.
They went a little closer to 80, 90
They sure did.
For a while.
during COVID
Right. Not now.
because they were short, and now I think that's sitting on the shelf, and I think they're backing off.
And that's
price.
why I moved, and that's over the past couple of years.
That's why you've gone there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's a $20 cost delta,
Sure.
you're kind of going,
Yeah.
and the Doublewood drinks so well.
Yeah, I prefer it. I know we've talked about this ad nauseum here on the pod, but I mean, I prefer the Doublewood even very similarly to the Macallan with the 12 to this 15
Yeah.
with price. I prefer that to the Caribbean cask. I prefer the 12
Yep,
all
me
day,
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
14.
I like the Caribbean.
And-
though.
But
I-
the Caribbean
I do-
cast
I
is
do love the
actually
Caribbean.
It's very good.
It's excellent.
Yes,
I'm
it
not
is.
saying it's bad. I'm saying I prefer that
It is
especially when we're having a cigar.
It's
I prefer the
delicious.
Doublewood
Oh yeah,
12.
the reason I think
The
we're
Caribbean-
like all
I think-
jumping on that is we just want to make sure like the delta between Macallan 12 Sherry and Macallan 15 in terms of like flavor and,
It's
and
huge.
performance is
It's
huge. Where the 12 Doublewood and the 14, like the 14 is also an outstanding
It's
bottle
excellent.
of scotch.
It's
Yeah.
very small, the
Yeah, but-
Delta. Yeah.
No, but the price for the Caribbean is closer to
It is.
80
It's like
bucks, yeah.
80
$80,
something, which
yeah,
is
80 bucks.
fair. for a
It's still
14.
worth
it, right? And that's a really, really good bottle of Scotch, man.
Yep.
For the dollar,
Yep. Hell yeah.
like it's really good.
Yep.
Especially in the summer,
I'll tell you, summer, winter, spring, fall.
I agree. All year round.
anytime, right? To go to
It was just so funny because somebody was asking me in the lounge, "Oh, is that the same bottle you were having a couple of days ago?" I said, "No, no, no."
right.
You said,
You're
hell
like,
no.
I've got multiple bottles
Multiples,
staged in lockers all over the place. It is really it's a nice spirit, but this 15 is really good, but it's not.
I don't think
you always
it's,
got to take price into the consideration.
Yeah.
If this, by the way, if this was, let's say it was $87 or $90 or something like that.
Can we go further? Let's say it was $70. I still
still
wouldn't drink
wouldn't
it
buy it.
over Macallan 12 or Balvenie 12.
And then
Doublewood.
you have Oban 14. Don't
Yeah.
forget Oban.
Yep.
It's
you
kind
know?
of
Yeah.
Well, which in our group has been kind of on the outs.
yeah.
No,
I don't know why you're saying
No,
that.
Well, we haven't had it.
Well,
in a
we
while.
haven't been drinking it.
That's the
I
only
don't
scotch
see
I
it
have
in
in my
anybody's
locker.
locker.
That's the only scotch I have in my locker right
He's
now.
not wrong.
In yours?
In mine, that's the only one I have. It's the only one I'm drinking right now.
Ah.
It's the least full bottle on my bar card at
Wait,
home.
wait a second. I thought that. Okay, I haven't.
The only one that has
Maybe
kind of
okay.
I've pushed out that I was drinking a
I
lot
thought
last
you were
year.
bearish on.
Honestly-
No. We talked about this. So when we did an episode about Oban, we were talking about how it used to be my absolute favorite single malt.
Mhm.
And then it went through this weird dark period where it was harsh
For
and
two
nothing like I
years.
remembered.
2
Bam-
years.
I thought it was crazy when I thought that. And
No.
then Bam he had the exact same experience.
It's
He said,
legit.
okay, it's not just me.
No.
And then the story I had told, it was remarkable. Bam comes over my place. We're in my lounge, and he brings a bottle of Oban. And normally I'd be very excited about this, given my recent experience with it. I was skeptical, and Bam said, "I'm the same way, but let's try it." It was so smooth,
Tasty.
and tasty,
And a little sweet.
little sweet,
Mhm.
and I'm not exaggerating.
We killed it.
The two of us alone killed the bottle that night in my lounge. Like it was that good, and they're back. They're
Oh,
firmly.
that's good to
firmly
hear
back.
because I've kind of for whatever reason, based on our commentary, actually, I had kind of backed off of that
Mm.
for a while.
The only one that I've
you
backed
get
off
the
of-
habits. You know how you get the
yeah,
habits.
the only
and you
habit
get
I've
into a
fallen
thing.
off of was Talisker. I've kind of not been reaching for that as much, but for me right now, my number one is Oban.
And the thing is, as it gets colder,
Well, I
open
always
is better
like
because of the slight peatiness,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
it gives you that
And
warm.
for it goes for like $90, I think.
Yeah.
And at that price point, it has a complexity about it that's deserving of the price point. Most of the scotches we're talking about, Balvenie 12 Doublewood definitely leans on the sweet side. Macallan 12 Sherry leans on the sweet side. It's so balanced and complex. Oban 14, there's like this dryness about it, this peatiness, a little bit of
sweetness.
sweetness. It's just, it
It's
deserves
balanced.
the price it commands.
Yeah, it's beautifully balanced. And as pedestrian as this may be tonight, I'm happy. I really enjoy the pairing. I'm liking it a lot.
To Bam's point,
Yeah.
with this cigar, I actually
Tonight.
I think it's
think
working
it works
great.
It
well.
works great
Yeah.
tonight. Yeah.
I don't love the $150 price point.
Fuck
I
no.
mean, it's 7 times the price of the cigar, but I mean, so be it. But boys, we're about halfway through here on the Partagás Coronas Gordas.
It's definitely a Partagás.
It's fantastic.
and it's got a fruit. It's got this fruit note that's in a level of complexity. It's got fruit, floral,
Crazy.
and it's also got these baking spices thing going on. It's totally bananas, and I think the thing is delivering on every level.
The fruit and floral is not a Partagás DNA.
No.
Yes,
You
you're
know.
right.
Correct.
It's
You don't
cocoa and
you don't
coffee.
get
No,
that
but you
in
can.
Partagás,
No,
on
it's
this
true.
you
But,
do.
on
but
this you
aged
do.
Partagás, because you
The
mentioned this
Culebra.
earlier, Rooster,
Culebra.
the
Oh, the
Culebra,
Culebra.
we
Yes.
got those floral
Yeah,
notes
it
that we
was
were
floral.
shocked by.
Yeah.
And
right.
let's not forget aged D4s.
That
Yeah.
cinnamon.
Aged
Cinnamon on
D4s,
those, yeah?
something pops.
Well, that's a cinnamon note.
Yes.
That's a real baking spice cinnamon note that pops. I've got 2013s, 2014 D4s that I'm still, nipping
saving.
at. Those are more baking spice, more cinnamon bombs than this has got. This is really I don't know about you guys, but this is a really complex cigar to me.
It
It's
is.
doing a lot of different things.
This
One
is
of
one of
the
the best
most.
cigars I've ever had.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm glad
It is
Grinder
really
said
good.
that. I'm just going to make the definitive statement now. This is one of the best Cuban cigars I've ever had.
I felt the
Period.
same.
I-
Actually, it's
I-
really
me too.
surprising. Yeah.
It's hard to say not. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Grinder,
this is really.
Can I have
up
that
there.
extra cigar back, please?
Yeah, right.
And you know what's interesting
I'll
is
throw it
like,
over.
Yeah.
this takes over my whole palate. Like my whole tongue feels
It
flavorful.
coats- it
as
coats your
opposed to-
mouth.
It's-
It coats your mouth.
It's never ending, right? The
It is
finish
I
is
gotta-
just unbelievable.
I got to say too, I
Unbelievable.
love Partagás. I love this flavor profile in this size in the Corona. I know we've talked about this a lot, how much we love this kind of size cigar, like the Mag 46, for example. But this at 46 by 5 and a little under a half an inch, I think that this is a perfect delivery vehicle for what
Agreed.
we're getting right
Agreed.
now. I love it.
I'm retrohaling this cigar on every
Me
Puba.
too.
single
Yep.
draw,
It's true.
and it's just getting better and better and better.
It's so
it's
good.
it's lunacy. It's really.
You know what?
I'm with the commentary here. This is really up there with one of the best Cuban cigars I've ever smoked in my life.
I don't know. I find that it's smoking pretty fast. I don't know whether I'm I'm smoking faster or
No,
the
no,
same
no.
thing. I'm
It's
like,
so,
I don't
it's
even
so
know.
good. It's just so
It's
good
just
you can't
excellent,
stop. Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to answer, Rooster asked what the line, what the cigar name was on the other sides of the Partagás that was released as the EL. It was the Series D number 3 EL that was released in 2011. Was also a Coronas Gordas in the same size.
The thing that, like, despite the draw issues I had, and it's still a little tight, it's still phenomenal. It's still like it's still the best cigar I've ever had.
Yeah, this is really good.
I'm
One
so
of the
sorry
best.
that's
One of the
happening
best.
to you because I'm not having any of those.
Yeah,
issues.
No,
Me
that's
neither.
all right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's that good that
It's
I
still
don't.
good.
Can we
like,
can
I
we
don't
make
care.
a quick comment on Habanos as well? By the way, that they put this
Sure.
beautiful cigar that's aged 9 years when it was put out. Now, a 15-year aged cigar. They stuff it in this cardboard dress box.
It's a crime.
I think it's all
It's
the
worse.
Añejados.
We have a box. We have 2 boxes of D4s here that come in that semi-boy nature box.
Yeah.
Beautiful presentation,
Yeah.
cedar. What are we doing with these cardboard boxes?
It's a crime. It's a crime.
It is.
I don't understand.
Even the ELs.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, it
Anybody,
drives me crazy. man.
anybody getting a hint of salt? I'm getting just a tiny bit
Yeah.
of delicious
Little,
salt
little
here.
twang.
Yeah.
Do you have your T-shirt on? You got twang T-shirt?
Not
Ben?
yet. Not yet.
No, yeah.
I'm getting the boxers actually.
Well,
Did you see?
You've
I don't know-
already ordered 28 pairs.
I did put a note on the boxers, by the way. So we're talking about the Lounge Wizards merch store, a little plug.
Mm.
But I put a note on there that Bam Bam ordered 28 pairs to cover a month. And every listener should at least order one if you ordered 28.
Yeah, there may not be any left, so get on it.
The other thing that this gets high marks for, the combustion is
it's great.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Smoke output.
I just say this is really weird. I just feel like lately, for whatever reason, just, life's stressful. I'm going in my tower and I'm not just looking at cigars anymore for flavor. I just need combustion.
Smoke. Smoke.
Like, you really just lose yourself when you just are sitting there with a cigar that's got just tremendous combustion. And a lot of the smaller sticks I have, the smaller ring gauges, I don't usually think of as able to provide the level of combustion I'm looking for after a really hard day. And the most satisfying thing about this for me, the flavor is absolutely tremendous.
And you
But
get
the
lost in the aroma.
combustion
Yeah.
is so significant that, like Pagoda said, you get lost in the aroma.
The aroma is phenomenal.
It just
Yeah.
takes
It's-
your appreciation for it to another level.
it's funny.
I'm getting cherry now. I'm getting fucking cherry.
A little maple.
No joke, dude. Like, this thing is
Put it on a shirt. Put it on a
insane.
shirt.
I'm getting cherry.
Fucking cherry.
is that like a black cherry or is that a
No,
fucking cherry?
Yeah, like it's
As long as it's not
crazy. This-
Robitussin cherry.
No,
That's Romeo.
Yeah.
this is lunacy. This
This is
thing.
amazing. This is very.
This is lunacy.
Now,
This
listen,
cigar.
Can I just say, Am
Am I wrong? Is
You're
or is
not.
it
You're not
fucking
wrong.
lunacy?
You're
The
not
last
wrong.
time
This thing is ridiculously good.
The last time that we got playful like this on a cigar that shocked us was another Partagás on the Calabres episode.
Yeah,
Shocker.
that was
That,
That was
Another
a-
shocker.
that was
yeah,
a
but
great.
that's a different kind of shot.
that's got to be
well.
one of the all-time best recordings.
That was awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
What a great night.
we
I remember I came back. I think I showed up and knocked on the garage door like mid pod because that was
Yeah,
that was a great that was a
that was great.
that
we
was
were
awesome.
not expecting to get those flavors
No.
out of the.
Well, it was
Calabres.
also aged. How long did you age that?
I didn't age it. I just bought it aged.
Someone
Oh yeah,
Somebody else
and
aged
then
it
by the
for
way,
me.
and then we all
Somebody
loaded.
else
Of
aged it.
course he did.
And then we all loaded up. I bought 2 boxes of
Me
like
too.
2014, 2015 Calabres.
What were they at?
I
They
don't
were
share-
2008.
I think it was 2008.
So here's what I would say to the listener. The reason why I brought that up is that the cigar that we're smoking tonight is going to be very challenging to find and very expensive. However, if you have the opportunity to buy some sort of aged Calabra, I do think that it is pretty close as far as the experience and the flavor profile. It's definitely, they're in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
I just
I
think
would say.
any heavily aged
I
Partagás
would,
at this
I would
point.
also say if you can get a box of 898s.
Oh,
With
sure.
I don't know what you're
aged-
talking about.
Yeah,
Please
but
don't
that's
spread the news.
that's
Let's
a
go
much-
from the unattainable to the
hold on.
impossible.
Yeah.
But let's also call a timeout too, because
Pull your pants up, guys.
but because even a heavily aged 898, like from let's say the mid 2000s, right? Which
Right.
What about
Yeah.
O2s?
O2s, right? Even that's still a, by the way, that's a full strength
It
cigar.
still has power.
It's got power.
yeah.
Now, it's got more nicotine. It has more Ligero primings in it than this cigar certainly does. That's Ligero heavy kind of 898 kind of. Even with the age, it brings a different experience, a much different experience. This cigar, and I'm not trying to compare the two,
Please
is
don't.
No, please do. I like where you're going. with
well
this.
because the 898 is a
It's a punch.
is
in
a
the face.
mother-fucker.
Ass
Yeah.
kick.
It's a fucking ass kicker, but in
For-
a
for
great
the-
way.
for
Just so the
listeners-
listener,
for
yeah,
the
the
listeners.
listeners can't see you doing that.
What?
He's-
What
you're
could
like-
be clenching my
it's a-
fist?
it looks
He's
like
like-
looks
like
X-rated.
We need
It's what
descriptions.
makes it makes the 898 the 898.
It looks like you're
which
about
is a
to-
strong. It's a really it's a
Bam,
full
Bam, Bam, tell us
experience.
what he's doing.
It's a hold on. It's a little X-rated.
No.
You know what's funny? I had the same thought.
I don't want to interrupt you for real.
no,
I
where this
understand what you're saying.
where this cigar actually it just delivers a way almost
Please just say it. There's one word I'm looking for.
different-
here.
almost an opposite experience.
Correct.
I just think the 898 delivers more power and strength, and it's definitely fuller, even with a ton of age on it, than this cigar. Now, this cigar brings fruit, floral, and just something that's a little bit of the departure from a traditional Partagás that I know, which is pleasing, interesting, and very, very cool. And it's one of the better Cuban cigars I've ever had.
So what is the word that you're
The
calling
word
out?
I was hoping you were going to say, and I actually love that you compared this to an 898, because I think everyone in this room regards the Partagás 898 as one of the best Cubans, period. The thing about this cigar, I have to give it credit, and I love the 898. I'm obsessed with that cigar. This is much more complex to me. Complex is the word I was looking for.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say
that-
elegant.
I mean, you can go there too. That I don't disagree. But that's where, for me, I never imagined in my wildest dreams that I was going to light this cigar and say, this is so much more complex than an 898, a cigar I regard as one of the best Cubans. And I would honestly, I have to put this right up there with it, because the 898, like Puba said, it
More
delivers
straightforward.
strength.
It's more straightforward.
I
yeah.
love the like chocolate notes that you get out of it
Chocolate,
that
yeah,
you
the
don't
stuff.
necessarily get here. But the complexity, I will never pull as many flavor notes out of an 898 as we already, just not even finishing this, just maybe a little more than halfway through, have pulled out. It's unbelievable.
I couldn't agree more. Well said. It's there's a level of complexity that's going on here with this that's different and
It's-
special.
It's off the
and-
charts. Off the charts.
And you know, let's talk about this for a second. So we talk about it, and we've paid, all of us have paid bonko bucks for cigars, ELs, regionals, all this other shit, age or whatever it may be.
Just Rooster.
Just Rooster. I didn't want to say anything. But no, seriously, look at all the money that we spent on cigar. We spent 20, 25 bucks on the cigar. Look at the experience that we're having with just an aged, not even regular production, kind of a limited production, but just kind of out of the norm Partagás cigar.
Worth every dollar.
It's incredible. And this is why I think this is a perfect example of why this hobby is so intriguing to me and us, is because we have these moments of like euphoria, these experiences with these cigars that I could have never expected. Honestly, I was coming in this recording tonight and this sit with you guys. I was coming into this expecting that we were going to be disappointed. I'll be dead serious. I was ready to be disappointed, and I'm shocked that it's performing the way it is.
You know,
for
the things
cigar
that you
that it
read
is.
online, it kind of throws you off.
Of course.
There's some negativity about this cigar online.
Yeah, there's a whole negativity about Añejados, period.
Yeah.
Do you have any other boxes we might be disappointed in?
I have a couple coming.
I mean,
Do you
I
have a
would just
couple
say
extra
I don't think there's negativity about this specific
I actually haven't
cigar.
seen much about this at all.
at all. I mean, this is kind of a look. This is a little bit of a unicorn. Okay, I mean,
and a hidden gem.
and
Yeah.
this hidden
Yeah.
kind of thing, and we're thankful for even just getting access to it.
Yes, thank you. Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I say hidden gem because honestly, I'm a firm, I've said this before. I don't think any cigar is worth paying more than $30 for. I really don't. Truly believe that. I would pay $40 for this cigar.
Rooster, you see him looking at you and
I would. Yeah, I am. I'm looking at two guys in the room. I mean,
the fuck
truly-
is it talking about?
I mean, I truly would. It's that good. It's that good, which I would say about so few cigars.
Sure.
You'd pay $40 for a Classico.
Yeah, but
I don't know that-
That's why that's one.
yeah.
I mean, I can count on one hand the number.
I
of
don't know if
cigars
there's a
I paid
limit
that
to
for.
what I would
I
pay
would
for
pay
a Classico.
$40 for an LGC MDO number 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Aged. I
Yes,
would
sir.
pay $40 for an 898 with some age. I'd pay $40 for a D4 with a lot of age. Right?
And that's 5. One
Yeah.
hand. That's it.
I
I
just
probably
got-
would.
I
Yeah,
just
and
got-
I
I
mean,
just got started.
yeah.
I got a whole list.
Well, I know you have a whole list for me.
and I,
For the normal
I
smoker.
bought, the funny thing is, I bought Classicos on the group for way under $40 a cigar, and
Yeah,
got,
that's 'cause
and-
there's-
and- and got a little flack for it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, you paid 12.
it was like
I
these
heard
people
you-
don't even know.
I heard you overpaid.
Yeah, exactly. They like I overpaid. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Smoke one, guy.
Crazy.
Smoke one of those.
Yeah,
and-
Puba
and
had a little
talk to
run
me
in on the group about overpaying for a box of Classicos,
from
which
some
is
jabroni.
I don't. I haven't heard that word in a
some,
while.
some
Jabroni.
fucking meatball.
Grinder, has your cigar opened up on draw, or are you still experiencing tightness?
No, it opened up.
I think it
I'm
has.
in the
He's
final
almost
third.
done.
So what's interesting though is I'm wondering though if the tight draw is affecting how far along you are in the
Yeah, I
cigar,
mean,
like
he
pulling
took
on
a-
it harder.
half the tobacco is taken out.
Yeah, he's moving along.
It's going to go fast.
It's smoking great.
That's
I think-
awesome.
I think the cherry flavor just got pulled.
Is it? I got a little cherry. I got
No,
a
no,
little
no. I'm
dry
just
cherry.
saying, is through the draw.
Yeah, I guess
you
the
know, that he was
sweetness
using.
is. Yeah.
Just kind of.
I-
kinda
you
zoning
can put
in
this.
on-
You can
Yeah, it's
put
amazing.
this thing. It goes through your nose like you wouldn't believe, even into the last third. It's really good. I mean, I'm not trying to ruminate too much over this cigar, but boy,
I want to see.
Listen, this
I
might
wanna
have
If
see-
you're not
Why-
trying to ruminate, I want to
please-
see what you're doing when
Let's
you're
Please
see.
ruminating.
ruminate
I don't
more.
know. I mean, dude,
Let's see how far he takes
bring
it down.
it.
How far are you taking that cigar down tonight? I want to see.
It's going to the nub. I
I
think.
hope so.
I could smoke this like once a week.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
If you can get them.
Smoke this every day.
Listen, Rooster, I can see you smoking this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So, boys, I got to tell you a little story. So you can hear the paper rustling. I got a little love letter in the mail
You got served.
Yeah, you did.
from the United States Customs and Border Protection Organization. The first letter I've ever gotten in all of the importing I've done over the years. A notice of seizure and information to claim its non-coffer form, where they listed that they found a box that was apparently coming to me. I don't know what they're talking about, of 50 small Cuban cigars and 3 other small Cuban cigars with a value of $660.
Got the wrong person.
That's what I said.
Clearly, I mean,
That's what I
you
said.
must have read that. And said, "My name's Gizmo. Who the hell is this
I mean,
guy?"
what? I don't know who they're addressing this to, but all of a sudden, then a Ras Cab and 3 Cuban Robustos or Cohiba Robustos didn't show up in my mail.
So you get refunded for that?
Yeah, so when you work with a retailer, you got to make sure that their shipping is guaranteed. This happens from time to time, which is why I'm obviously bringing it up in jest. But it's unfortunate. This is the first time I've ever had a box get popped. So I wanted to ask: has anybody else in the room had an issue with?
Happened to me.
It did. So you get a letter in the mail, and then you just ignore it. You can't respond.
Yeah, right. So this happened a number of years back. It was probably like 10 years back, and I had no clue like what to do. So I asked one of the attorneys. This was at a previous lounge. So he said, just don't respond. And I think it was from Cigars of Habanos or Cigar Terminal. And Ravi actually messaged me, so Cigars of Habanos, and he said, just don't respond, and we'll just ship out another one. So he said it's rare, but it happens once in a while.
What are they doing with that?
They smoke them.
Well, I can
Just
tell you.
smoke them, man.
I think they take them home.
So I can guarantee.
Fuck these people, man.
I know friends that have friends that work in the customs department, employees. They do take them home and they fucking smoke them
Of course they do.
and they sell them.
So I think in retirement, all of us are going to become
It
customs
happens.
agents.
It happens.
I'm going to
Just
work at
smoke-free
JFK. I'm going to
Cubans.
work at JFK. Have you ever had a pod? No.
Yeah,
Have
but
you ever
these were
smoked?
was,
No.
Was this at JFK?
Yeah,
or did-
it was. It came into JFK.
Really?
You know what? And you know what's
But-
crazy about it? You know what's crazy about it, Poopa?
But these came through the Pacific, right? They came from.
They came from.
That's where you're going to
yes,
get nailed.
Yeah, I don't want to nail. I don't want to
Yeah,
name
right,
because the percentage
right,
is so low where it's
right,
coming from.
Right.
Actually, the worst port right now in the country that border, CBP is coming in is actually Miami. Is worse. The worst right now.
That's right.
Southeast U.S. right now is having a hell of a time. A lot of guys have gotten popped on imports.
So
you
should
know.
we really be talking about this?
I mean, listen. What are we
I
going
mean,
to
what
change?
if there's
right?
a customs guy actually a listener of the pod?
I'm
I
sure
don't
there is.
think-
Tell him I want my
I mean,
Ras
listen,
Cab back.
I mean,
Yeah.
he
Tell them
said
to
it was-
focus.
it
Tell them to
wasn't-
focus on fentanyl.
Yes.
That's
Thank you.
what exactly. Focus on fentanyl and fake Rolexes.
Jesus Christ! I mean, for
For crying out
Yeah.
for crying out loud,
loud.
people are dying.
Go after the big
that
stuff.
really bothers me. I'm sorry.
course.
It's very
That-
frustrating.
That's so fucking annoying to me that
It's
there's
awful.
this. I could go on. I won't go.
No, I'm ready to put a defund the CBP shirt on our merch store because, like,
Defund the government.
defund CBP. Well, there's a defund the IRS that I have seen on my Instagram. That
Can
I
we
think is
defund
hilarious.
everything?
But what's interesting about it is, I guess the whole point is that you restrict transactions to Cuba, or they're on the do not import list, embargo and whatnot. But all it does is create more. Every box they take just creates another transaction that you're going to replace that box with something. Like, it's illogical and it's stupid. And here we are.
Yep.
However many years later, still dealing with this bullshit.
listen, these are law enforcement people who are mostly good people who are just kind of doing their jobs. And when
Well,
they
we
come-
assume they're good people.
But they're
Well,
taking home.
listen,
They're taking
Do
home
you consider
contraband.
the CBP law enforcement?
Here we go.
I don't have an opinion on it.
I was
really,
only
one way
making
or
a
the
Trump
other.
joke. Some I assume are good people. That was all I was going for. I was not ready to get this deep.
Instigator.
No. I actually don't really know much about it. I know one CBP guy who's a good guy. I know one guy.
Look, here's what I would say. Here's what I would say.
I would just say that I mean, I don't know. I don't know
I would
enough
just-
about it. I was just, the only point I was trying to make was that most of these people have a job to do. And if something pops up on a scan, or whatever, or on an X-ray, and they're obligated to open it, and it's random that happens, and then they don't want to lose their job. They see something and they have to open these things. They open it, and the box gets picked off.
And
I
then
just
they-
think
I
it's
think-
part of the
and
process.
And then they take it home.
Yeah,
I don't know. We don't know that.
We know
how
that.
much that. No,
It
I don't-
happens.
Look, I
It
don't doubt
happens.
that, but let's just. I think something
I don't
Puba
know.
said, which is fair. I don't know anyone that works in Customs and Border Patrol, and I certainly don't want to, because then I probably wouldn't receive anything I order. But just to Puba's point, like, they're doing their job in the sense that this is a product of really stupid policy. This is
Absolutely.
not about
It's
like any
ridiculous.
agents or Customs and Border Patrol. We had a situation where we have tried to isolate Cuba for God knows how long, thinking that was going to change Cuba, and it obviously has not. And then finally, we had a president who just said, "Well, if we do the same thing over and over and it doesn't work, maybe we should just try something else." And obviously, Obama just opened it up, which I wish we would have just kept. I mean, we
Yeah.
could just order shit freely, and it wasn't literally Customs and Border Patrol was not ordered to fucking search through cigar boxes. Who cares? Just let them come in. They're going to come in anyway. And then we obviously reverted back to the same bullshit policy. I would love to see, this is not meant to be a political statement. I don't care who's the fucking president. This is silly. It obviously hasn't
100%.
worked. Just open it up and let people live the way they want to live.
And we're talking about, listen, we're talking
Yes,
about
sir. When are you running for some kind of office?
I'm just glad we live in Bozeman, Montana.
No, but I mean, I don't know what are they. I mean, is it? I just don't know. Are they bad? Like,
Yeah.
what the problem?
are.
They're bad people.
I mean, I thought you were.
No, I'm saying they're just following the policy. Like, that's my point. Like, this is a
it's a
government
policy
issue.
problem.
That's
It's not a
what-
people
Like,
problem.
under Obama, they were told not to do this. And then we reverted back to the same policy, and they were told you must stop anything coming from Cuba, any Cuban product, even if it comes from Europe, Asia, doesn't matter. And I'm just saying, like, this is bullshit. We should just let it be.
Just open it.
Well, no. In my mind, I'm just thinking they should be. Shouldn't they be focused on fentanyl?
Yes.
Yes,
Exactly.
and not this bullshit. That we're saying the same thing.
They
course.
should.
I
Here's
mean,
my thing.
or no.
We're talking about a premium handmade product that has no additives, no bullshit in it, is built for relaxation. That's the entire purpose of what we do here. And the idea that it's a problem, it blows my mind. It blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I
You know,
just
it's
I just don't-
absurd.
I just don't know what the. I just don't think
They should be focused on fentanyl.
right and like counterfeit goods.
Yeah, we're
Exactly.
happy to
It's
import a
most-
bunch of
mostly,
counterfeit
right?
shit
I
from
mean,
China,
right,
but
I'll
right.
tell you
God
this:
forbid a
my
box of cigars.
my
But I
Monofortuna
mean,
fake box of Coros made it.
I no, but I feel like that a lot of what they do is picking up counterfeit through the airports, is picking up counterfeit Gucci, counterfeit.
I think they don't do a lot
They
of
don't
that.
do a lot of that.
I mean,
No.
they're sold on the street corners of Manhattan
Those-
everywhere. Of course, they're
those
coming.
No, I
those
think a
come in
lot gets through.
containers. Those come in massive containers from China.
Oh no, they come in
all over.
shapes
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
But that's my point. The policy is stupid. I'm saying, forget the random agent. It's not their fault.
No.
Even though, of course, none of us like when they snag a box like they did with Gizmo. But the point is, the policy doesn't make any sense where we have counterfeit goods coming in, we have drugs coming in, and we're worrying about a fucking cigar box that's coming from Cuba.
So
it's
stupid.
silly.
Yeah.
Silly.
So stupid.
And give the CBP guys, like, every single one of them a black light so they can check the seal.
Yes, if they
So if the
Yeah.
seal is good, let it come through.
That's right.
It's no good. Keep the fucking thing.
All right, boys, we're coming to the last third here of the Partagás Coronas Gorda Añejados. What are you guys thinking?
That's awful.
I'll smoke the rest of yours.
Yeah, I'm completely blown away.
Yeah.
It's
Blown
been
away.
I think it's, you know, as Puba always says, 3-act play. I think in a really, really complimentary way. It's continued to develop from the first light to where it is now. I think it's really just continued to.
There is
to
a
grow.
little bit of a similarity between the Upman Añejado and the Partagás
A little bit.
Añejado.
I
A
said that
little bit.
earlier. Yeah,
Yeah.
a bit.
I don't know what that is, but I don't know if
Dessert?
it's the baking spice.
I think the dessert. Yeah,
dessert-like
that's
flavor.
accurate. I think.
Yeah.
A little.
I don't
little
think
bit.
I
It's
I
something,
think
not
yeah, it's a
much.
touch. I don't think it's I don't think it's a close cousin,
Hmm.
but I think the age of just Cuban tobacco. I mean, it just kind of bakes these things and
There's-
chills them out, and the
and it-
flavors are just
There's
so
like a
superb.
little vanilla. There's a little spice.
A little
there's
maple I'm getting.
everything that.
Yeah, I don't
there's a
remember-
little going on.
I don't remember the Upman Añejado being like a full.
No,
You know,
No.
not
it
nearly
was-
as full, and it's not as
Yeah.
complex as this.
No, it's
so
not.
I just want to say I'm sorry. I've smoked. I am certain I've smoked more Upman Añejados than anybody in this room. That cigar in the last third.
Well, Nate,
Gets-
I knew he was.
Puba,
I knew
I'm
he was going
certain
to
of
jump in at
this.
you.
How many boxes of this have you bought?
3.
Okay, then we have the same amount. Either way, point being, the last third of that cigar gets like this, fuller. The last third of this cigar, I mentioned how early on this was medium full.
Yeah.
The last third gets full,
Yeah, it's full now.
which I really like.
Yeah.
Oh,
The same exact thing happens with the Upman Añejados. That last third, and I would actually argue the Upman Añejados in the final third delivers even a little bit more power than
It
this
does.
cigar
Really?
does.
It does. I think so too. Yeah.
So I haven't had that in a while. I mean,
We should
I
do
need
that.
to go back.
Yeah,
and revisit.
maybe.
yeah, we'll do. We should
Yeah.
do the Anahata soon.
Yeah.
The
Maybe
Upman.
it's
Since you guys have 3 boxes.
They've got dark wrappers. I mean, that cigar,
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful cigar.
Yeah. So, boys, I got we got a listener email from a guy named Jeff, who I guess we had talked about ST DuPont lighters or lighters in the past on the pod, and bought an ST DuPont lighter, filled it up, worked great, and all of a sudden, the juice runs out. He goes to fill it again, and he can't get the thing to fire.
Do you know what kind of lighter it was? A
I think it
soft
was
flame
very
or-
similar. It was it was the Jet, like
was
that
the
we
Jet,
have. It was
okay.
very similar to the one that
The
we have.
Maxi Jet.
The Maxi Jet,
the
yeah.
Maxi.
So I very quickly just responded and said, hey, you know, you got to take a perfect draw or the end of a corkscrew or something and get the air out of it, you know, bleed it. And I sent that email back. I said, bleed it and fill it. You'll hear the air coming out, fill it up. And he said the thing worked great. So good tip for listeners. I mean, I've seen guys here at our lounge do the same thing where they don't bleed the lighter before you try to refill it with butane. But really important thing is to make sure you get that air out of it before you try to put new butane in it. I mean, you guys all do that, right? I mean,
sure. You can use a golf tee. You can use a
Anything. A
perfect
nail.
draw.
You use a nail.
yeah, anything.
Yeah.
You can use
He's
a
got a-
pencil.
Yeah,
Pencil?
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pencil.
the mechanical pencils that my kids have for school. Sometimes I'll use that to bleed it, but you have to bleed the lighter before you refill it, especially a high end lighter like that.
Yeah, well, and even more importantly, the cheap lighters that I mean, I don't have a high end lighter because I lose everything. So I just use these Vertigo lighters.
Don't I know it?
Yeah, yeah. Rooster gave me a nice cutter, and I lost it in a day.
In a day.
So, yeah,
A day.
in a day. Yeah, and I lost it in a day.
What kind of lighter was that?
It wasn't lighter. It was a cutter.
It's a cutter.
Oh.
It's a Zeno
It's
Davidoff.
a Xeno
Oh,
Davidoff
nice.
cutter.
Oh, that is. a
I'm
nice
sure
thing.
it's somewhere.
It's
sure
some-
you'll
I'm
find
sure
it
it's
when you're
somewhere,
not
yeah,
looking.
in the
Yeah.
laundry, in the washing machine,
Out in the street.
Exactly.
It's in the pool.
It's all good.
So,
I'm
boys, we're
sorry.
coming to the end of our 15-year pairing tonight. What are you guys thinking of Macallan? What do you think of the cigar? Like, what kind of thoughts are you do you have on this before we do the liquor rating?
Like I said earlier, for what it is tonight, I think both are working.
I have a slightly different take now. So the cigar, I think we've all said, has picked up in flavor. And now the Macallan for me has just fallen so flat in comparison to this.
It's because you put ice in it. I assure you. My opinion.
I mean, this is their double cask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not, if you even look at I guess that looks close, but I still think the sherry bottles that they produce, it's a darker spirit.
Oh, it's much better. Yeah. There's no
And,
argument.
I just think there's a richer, deeper flavor that
Sure.
holds up better to the second
Sure,
half
sure.
of this stick, where I
Can't
think
argue.
now that it's developed a fuller flavor,
Mhm.
the Scotch doesn't have as full of a flavor to hold up with.
I think I'm just enveloped in the flavor right now.
To me, the Macallan 15, especially that price point, I mean, it'll reflect in my rating, but
Oh, me too.
it's just not.
Yeah.
It's
Same
not
here.
doing what it should be doing.
I mean, I'm
Agreed.
curious, other guys, Pagoda, Grinder, what do you
Sold.
think
Sold.
on the Scotch?
Yeah, on the Scotch.
All right.
You
Really?
like it?
No, I don't like it. Sold meaning you don't want it.
Oh, you want to sell it? I thought you were
Yeah.
saying you were sold on it.
No.
This
was
must
so
be a
confused.
British thing or something. I'm like,
No,
what
no.
are you-
No, that
No,
you know,
it's,
like
it's for sale.
no. When you trade, when you trade, you say, "Here, listen, you either you bid for it or you sell it, right?" So it's like sold. It's something I'd rather somebody else be enjoying it.
So you're dumping your Macallan 15
Yeah, if he
stock.
was in the commodities pit, he'd
Yeah,
be waving
so-
Waving
goodbye.
it.
You're-
Yeah,
you're-
take it.
So-
It's all yours.
You're
It's
not.
all yours.
You're not done on that.
Yeah, it doesn't do much for me.
Are you guys ready to do the formal liquor rating on this thing?
Yeah.
All right. Bam Bam, you're up.
I'll go 7.
Okay.
I'll go 6.
6 from Grinder. Pagoda?
6.
6. Senator.
Wow. I thought I'm usually harsh.
That's brutal.
This is pretty harsh.
No, but you've got to weigh in the price, the
That's
flavor,
fair.
the taste.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's
All
true.
right. This is hard.
And the fact that it's not easily available.
All right, now I'm sold. What's
Sold.
pushed me over the edge?
Yeah.
What's pushed me over the edge is the fact that I personally think this needs ice. At 15 years,
And $150.
$150, it's a 6. I would have given this a 7 if it at least was smooth enough to drink without ice.
I think I was sold when I went to 4 different liquor stores to find this fucking bottle.
For $150.
I was
I'm
walking
gonna-
out of the Bottle King.
Yeah,
I think this better be fucking good.
I mean, I'm not going to give it a 6. I'm going to give it a 7.
I'm going to
gonna
give it a
give it a
7
7.
too. I mean, I'm a
mean-
7 all day for sure.
I can't give it a 6. It's a 7 for me.
So the formal liquor rating on this thing, boys, is a 6.5.
Pretty average.
Not good, Macallan.
average score.
No, I think
Below
we're going to
average.
save listeners some money. Look, if you're obsessed with Macallan, you have to try it. There's no way around that. Would
But
I
you
drink
won't-
this if someone
yeah.
opened this up? Of course I would. But is it something I'm ever going to pursue? Are there? I'm just thinking of even very excessively priced 12 years single malts that
Yeah.
I would still reach for over this. It just doesn't hold a candle.
Well, like a million things under $150,
That's true.
including like Green Spot, Red Breast, Irish
true.
whiskeys. Like
All-
there's
all
a
of it.
lot of different things that you
Yeah.
could sub in that are just really so much better.
The
You're
fact that
totally
you can
right.
get 2.5
You know-
bottles of the Belvedere double wood.
It's true.
All right, boys, we're coming to the end here of our Corona. My fingers are burning. Corona Gordas from Partagás, the Añejados. Any final thoughts before we do the formal rating on this thing?
Simply an incredible cigar.
It's so
Very
good from
surprising,
the
but excellent.
beginning to the end. Very satisfying.
I've really appreciated again how it really, even from the first light, which blew me away, to the first third, all the way to the end here, it's really developed
Yeah,
and changed, and it's been interesting the whole time.
But what's cool is it does build in strength, but those notes that we got early on continue to carry through. They just become
Yeah.
more pronounced.
Yep.
Quite delicious.
I have a slightly different
Okay.
take on the last bit of this.
Mhm.
Because I'm starting to think of how I'm going to rate this cigar, and I'm just debating between a 9 and a 10. The only thing the only complaint, we're splitting hairs because I think this is clearly going to score very high, but it's important we do that. The last fourth of this for me, it's picked up in strength, which I like, but I have lost the complexity of flavor
And the
that
floral.
I had in the first 3/4 of this cigar.
I
I'm
agree.
getting just a couple of notes at most at this point. It is no longer complex at this point. And so
Wow.
that's going to definitely be the decisive factor for me between a 9 or a 10.
I
And-
definitely think
totally
as it
agree.
heated up, I think as it
Pagoda's having
heated
the
up,
same.
I don't think that you're wrong, but it's still very enjoyable.
I
Oh, it is.
couldn't-
I'm not saying
yeah.
it's
Very
bad.
enjoyable. Yeah.
Just
So-
so we're clear, I,
understand what
don't
you're
want to
saying.
mislead the listener. This is deciding for me between a 9 and a 10. And if this could have held all the way through that complexity, it's a 10 every day of the week. But because the final fourth of this, I mean, truly, I'm not getting more than 2 notes out of this right now.
What are you getting?
That's
Just
what's a
wh-
9.
Curious what you're getting right now.
I mean, not a whole lot. Like that's what's a little
Really?
problematic for me.
I
Yeah,
couldn't.
it's totally lost the floral, the baking spices.
but I
It's
think
totally lost it for
I
me.
think what's ramped up is that
Yeah.
vanilla, that maple. I'm getting a lot of that still, with the intensity of the tobacco. I'm happy to
Getting a
love
lot
it
of
right now.
tobacco intensity and not much
Yeah.
flavor,
Yeah.
not much of the flavors we got.
I'm not going to judge it at this. It's at the end. Like we're very much at the end.
We are. That's true.
So
Again,
I'm
I'm
not
talking
gonna
9
judge
or
it.
a 10. I'm not saying
Yeah.
this is a bad
Judge it
cigar. I
that
just hope we're
harshly.
clear.
It is still, it is still one of the best cigars
Yes.
I've smoked. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, you guys ready to do the formal lizard rating on this thing? All right, Rooster, you're up.
Yeah. So, I mean, 90% of the cigar is fantastic, right? I mean, just to the very end, I agree with Senator about the notes, kind of diminished a little bit. But to me, I mean, for what we paid, I mean, if you paid $20 for this, this is a home
22,
run.
25?
22.
Yeah, something
Even,
like
even
that.
at $40 a stick, with this much age on it, to me, it's a 10.
All right.
yeah. For
Puba?
me, in the context of all the Cuban cigars that we've smoked, aged Cubans, this is a real standout to me. I've got to give it a 10 because it was that good for me. It was really that good for me. It was different. It was differentiated, and very, very, very complex. One of the more complex Cubans I've ever smoked. So I'm giving it a 10. It's a 10.
It's a 10.
So I am going to break protocol so far. I'm going to go with a 9 on this, and I'll explain why. Senator.
I am also at a 9, and it kind of pains me to give it that because the first 3/4 of this cigar, and I think Puba was saying a lot of this.
That's still a very elite score.
I don't, hang on.
Okay.
So this isn't even just one of the more complex Cubans. This is one of the most complex Cubans I've ever had. The first 3/4 of this cigar were a 10 all the way. I mean, I was sitting here smoking this saying this is one of the greatest cigars I've ever had in my life, period. Never imagined I'd say this about this Añejados. The only reason I just have to give it a 9 is because if I'm going to, a 10 for me is that's a cigar I'm going to pick up, and every single time all the way through, it's just going to completely blow my mind. And the last quarter, not the last third, just the last quarter, I mean, if I smoke a $15 exclusivo down to the nub like I'm at right now, the flavor is still exactly like the other 3/4 of that cigar. And with this, it just started to fade and get very monotone at the very end. So for me, it's a 9, but 3/4 of it was a 10.
Yep.
Another 5 years of age, you'll get to the bottom.
Oh, please, Sonny. Please.
Say that again.
I said, oh, please, Rooster.
Pagoda.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I've been thinking about this. It's been a 10 throughout, by the way. I never felt so giddy, and I think we all were giddy with this. We were happy. Everyone was smiling. There was happiness, and you can see the buoyancy and the vibrancy within the group when we were smoking the cigar. Towards the end, it's still a good smoke. I'm generally very harsh on Cubans anyway, but in this case, I'll give it a 10.
All right.
Wow. All right.
Wow.
Grinder.
Because I will definitely seek this out. I
My
will
man.
seek
Well,
this
good
out.
luck finding it.
I will too at a 9.
I know I was going to be at 9. I was like, oh, the happiness and the giddiness you feel when you smoke a great cigar, you just feel really good about it. So it's like, oh.
Grinder.
I think Gizmo, I don't think the perfect draw did enough. I think I'm gonna have to open up this other cigar.
I had a feeling it was coming.
It's a 10.
All right. Bam Bam.
10.
All right. Wow. Well, boys, the formal lizard rating on this cigar is a 9.7. So I'll tell you why I gave it a 9. And the reason why is for very similar to what Senator said. The first 3/4 were really superb. The last quarter, fine. But compared to the Lub 14, Upman 2 that we did, the Classicos, some of the other experiences that I've had on the podcast where I gave it a 10, it was just slightly below those. I would say it's maybe in the top 5 or top 10 of Cuban cigars I've ever smoked, but it's not in the top tier where I'd give it a 10.
Yeah, it's really interesting because the last third, it just kind of dies. Yeah, meaning in terms of the overall intensity of flavors.
I don't know if I agree with that. For me, the flavor just continued, and it's really intense. I'm down to the last half inch. It's just quite delicious.
I enjoyed the flavor throughout as well. I
Oh.
didn't have that kind of letdown.
No,
you guys
not
had.
at all. Not at all.
Um,
I disagree. Yeah.
All right, boys, a 6.5 for the 15-year aged Macallan tonight, and a 9.7 for the Partagás Coronas Gordas Añejados from 2007. Absolutely a surprise.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't believe it.
It's awesome.
Could have been a better pairing, unfortunately. Macallan could have brought the heat a little bit better for a $150 bottle, but
1 tenant holds. Partagás can do no wrong.
Right.
so awesome night, guys. So thank you to O, our friend in California, for hooking us up with these cigars. Thanks to Grinder for running around grabbing this Macallan 15 for us tonight, and of course, thank you to our host here, 1086 Cigars in Hawthorne, New Jersey, for letting us record every week. We're very appreciative. And awesome, guys. We'll see you next week.
Keep smoking.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.